Movie recap: The Labyrinth of Evermore. It begins, as these stories often do, with a city that feels alive, though not in any comforting sense. Meridian was a sprawling, rain-drenched metropolis where the lights of the skyscrapers barely pierced the eternal fog. Beneath its labyrinthine streets, steam hissed from forgotten pipes, and shadows moved where none should. This was where Ada Lorne, a cartographer of lost things, eked out her living. Ada wasn't like the others in Meridian. She had a peculiar gift, or curse. Her maps were never quite normal. They were vivid, shifting things, etched with details no one else could see. Unmarked alleys, forgotten staircases, and hidden doors appeared on her charts, places that vanished when others tried to follow. She didn't know why her maps worked, only that they did. Her life took a strange and irrevocable turn when she was hired by an eccentric recluse, Dr. Malachi Cypher. He was an antiquarian obsessed with the Evermore Project, a legend whispered among the city's outcasts. The Evermore was said to be a hidden city, an impossible place existing between worlds, accessible only through doors scattered across Meridian. Most dismissed it as myth. Ada, reluctantly intrigued, accepted the job. Her search began in the city's oldest district, a place where cobblestones were slick with oil and windows reflected things that weren't there. Guided by her strange intuition, Ada found the first door. It was small and unassuming, set into the back of a crumbling bookstore. The moment her fingers touched the cold brass handle, the world rippled. Stepping through, she found herself in a surreal landscape, a cavernous expanse, where the sky was a swirling void of stars, and the ground was an infinite chessboard made of obsidian and bone. Here she met her first guardian of Evermore, a woman who introduced herself as Seraphine. She was beautiful in a way that felt alien, her eyes too deep, her smile too knowing. Seraphine explained that Ada was no ordinary mapmaker. She was a navigator, one of the few who could traverse the labyrinth of dimensions. Each door led to a shard of Evermore, but the city had been shattered by a war waged long before humanity's dawn. The fragments were guarded by immortal beings, wardens who had made impossible bargains to protect the dimensions from collapsing entirely. As Ada delved deeper, she uncovered horrifying truths. The doors were not just passages, they were traps. Each step into the Evermore unraveled time, pulling her further from her reality. The guardians she encountered grew increasingly strange. One was a creature with the face of a man, but the body of a shifting, iridescent mass. Another was a blind child who spoke in riddles, her voice layered with echoes. They told Ada conflicting stories of the Evermore's purpose. Some claimed it was a sanctuary, others a prison. The most unsettling revelation came when Ada stumbled upon an ancient library filled with books that wrote themselves as she watched. One tome, bound in something that looked disturbingly like flesh, told her story. Every step she'd taken, every door she'd opened. But it didn't end there. The final pages described her future, a chilling prophecy where she would become the next guardian, her soul bound to the labyrinth for eternity. Ada sought out Malachi, demanding answers. He confessed that he had been searching for the Evermore for centuries. Literally, he was one of the Immortals, a former guardian who had escaped but was cursed to age only when he was away from the labyrinth. He had lured her into his search, knowing she was the only one who could find the core door, the nexus of all dimensions. Once opened, it would restore his immortality fully and collapse the labyrinth, erasing countless alternate realities in the process. But Malachi had underestimated Ada. The labyrinth had begun to change her, sharpening her instincts, unraveling her humanity, but giving her a strange new awareness. When she found the corridor deep in a dimension where gravity pulled sideways and the air hummed with whispers, she faced an impossible choice. Open it, and she would become a part of the labyrinth, her mind shattered across infinite dimensions. Close it, and Meridian, and her own world, would eventually collapse as the labyrinth decayed. The climax was a haunting symphony of light and shadow. Ada stood before the corridor, its surface a swirling mass of faces, some pleading, some screaming. Behind her, Malachi begged, his voice cracking as he promised her everything. But she saw through him now. She realized the truth. The Guardians were not protecting the labyrinth, they were feeding on it, and on the lives it touched. With a surge of defiance, Ada shattered the Chronos key, the artifact that allowed mortals to interact with the labyrinth. The corridor dissolved into ash, and with it, the labyrinth began to unravel. As the dimensions collapsed, Ada felt herself dissolving, her body stretched across time and space. Yet, in her final moments, she glimpsed something beautiful, a new map forming in the void, a universe being rewritten. The movie ends in Meridian, now brighter, its fog lifting for the first time in centuries. Ada's maps are gone, but her name lingers in whispered stories of the city. Somewhere, in a forgotten corner, a new door appears, waiting for the next navigator. The screen fades to black, and a single line appears. Some doors should remain closed, but some are meant to be found.